Student, today I would be delivering one lecture on Hegel, but Hegel is not so easy to complete in one lecture, so you follow my two of the videos, probably maybe three or can be. So you just follow, and I'm speaking a very lucid type of English, so that is not a very big problem for Bengali medium students so far, I hope. Now, Hegel is very commonly known and famous German philosopher, but his full name is George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Hegel belongs to Stuttgart of Germany, and after that he engaged himself in a profession that is professor, but he had to face that French Revolution and that Napoleon war of Napoleon. So after that he left that position and started his career as a head of secondary school, and finally at the end of his life he ended his profession as being a professor. So this is a bit of life sketch of Hegel. Hegel is mostly influenced by Plato and Aristotle, but Greek influence was there, and Hegel is the most commonly known or the outstanding type of philosopher who presented the organic theory of state. So if you all know what is the organic theory, but organic theory propounded by the Aristotle first, but Hegel is also a champion or outstanding kind of theorist on that organic theory of state. But before going to state, because we are student of political science, so we are very much concerned about our state, that is the government and the state, but Hegel is bit different from other political scientists. He is not confined in between means only political issues. He has completed social and philosophical and psychiatric aspects of human life. He first wrote the book that is the phenomenology of mind, means the state of mind, the book concerned with the mind and this behavior and all. So Hegel is not confined with that state, but he entered into the discussion of state that we later on will complete. But here only in this lecture I would be completing two things, that is the Hegel's dialectic and the civil society and state, how state form came. But before that I want to say you that Hegel is more than a philosopher, more believer in a very eternity, means state is perishable, state is organism, state is what state we are finding or we are perceiving, that is the perishable, but behind that eternal world is there, and that world's reflection and the God's reflection is the state. It means the God's reflection, God's impression in the world is actually the state organization. So Hegel is a believer of God, Hegel is believer of eternity, Hegel is believer of in otherworldly world, that is not this world. Hegel is a bit concerned with that eternity and kind of obligation and all. So before going to the state portion, I would like to tell you about something that Hegel believed. Hegel believed that regarding human nature, Hegel believed that humans are very much concerned with their own interest, and for their own interest and biological need they created family. So family, it is actually the institution which is actually clearing the interest or the mitigating the physical desire of person, and but after few days, means after formation of the family, men started feeling that this desire is actually of mind is not being completed or not being fulfilled by only the family. So then the men enter into the outer world, that is a business world, that is the more than family, and created a group that is called civil society. So civil society is also for the interest of the it is created because of the interest, out of the interest of the people, and the family is also created out of the interest. So, and man is very much social, as Aristotle and Plato believe that man is social, men very much belong to the societal category. So he is also like that, and but the thing is that he is very much clear that so human beings are very much interested in own concern about the own interest, and that is the only reason they created the family first. And when family is not at all able to complete or fulfill all the demand, then the person entered into the outer world. So family is not fulfilling, and then the men are actually going outer side to create another group that can be that can complete the desire of the people. So then society or the business group or the civil society came. This is the way the civil society created. And after that also there is a need to control this business group. There is a need to control the behavior of the people within the civil society. There is a need to a kind of regulations that can control the behavior of the people, and so that society can be, means people can live happily in that civil society. Because of this, a final kind of institution, that is a state, entered into the scenario. So first is family, then civil society, and then the state is actually entering into the scenario. It is not that Plato and Aristotle believed that state is normal and state was there and society was there, it's simultaneous. But Plato Hegel cleared that no, the family came first, then second is the civil society, and after that when men felt about the need of a regulating authority or the law making authority or the a controlling authority, then actually state emerged out of the interest of the people. So now Hegel cleared that the state is also created because of the interest of the people. So here it is, here he is much more scientific, and regarding, he belongs to German, so but he actually he was not favoring the British kind of thinking. He always says that British thinking is not logical because they are not interpreting the history. They are only believing on the rational, means they are creating the theories on the basis of the rationality of the thinker, on that imagination or rationality, what may be, but they are not entering into the history. And for any kind of societal development, if any thinker wants to discuss about the how society evolved, then the person has to be very much clear about the history, and there is a necessity of analyzing the history. So after analyzing the history, one can say that what is actually the real scenario and how the society emerged. So unless and until a theorist, a person or a thinker is actually going through the history, then he couldn't or can't tell about the evolution of the history or how his society is created or any kind of development of or progress of society. So here Hegel is much more, Hegel all means all the way we are concerned that on the Hegel on state, and Hegel is regarded as the ideologist, but Bhavbadi means kind of solely dependent on the ideas. But here it is, Hegel is very much logical and Hegel is very much empirical. So he is cutting the tradition of rationality of by the British thinkers like Hobbes and other but Mill, Bentham and all. So this is the tradition, that rational tradition he cut and then enter into the empirical kind of analysis of the social development of the state formation and the family and the reason behind the family and the reason behind the formulation of civil society, and what is the civil society and how it is actually performing or mitigating the interest of the people, and how the state is mitigating the interest of the people. That is the very clearly, very logically he discussed. So not that the Hegel is ideological thinking is more prevalent or more predominant in Hegel's ideas, but you have to understand the mind of Hegel. Hegel very much a believer of that eternity, and in realistic world eternity is not that kind of thing that can be achieved through empiricism. So you cannot see, you cannot imagine, you cannot feel that kind of eternity if you are not indulging yourself in more and more deeper kind of understanding of the mind and of the reflection of that eternal world. So to him this world is the reflection of the eternal world, and the state and the civil society is also the reflection, and state is created by that eternal world, and that is why people are bound to obey the state rules. So state is created, if it is created by the God, if something is created by God or something is a reflection of the outer world, then one has to follow the thing. This was the main realm of Hegel. So here Hegel discussed about, so means a very nutshell, it is this, the how Hegel described all the evaluation and all other societal and state formation. And now how it developed. Now this portion on that topic, Hegel stated that it is the theory of dialectic, the notion of dialectic, which is actually behind any kind of development. Means it may be a society, it may be a family or civil society or state, it may be a development of mind, it may be a development of thinking or logic or any kind of inference, wherever you can put in the notion of dialectic. So dialectic is omnipotent, dialectic is universal, and dialectic can be used anywhere to discuss the way of development or progress. So if there is no dialectic, there is no development, no progress or no evolution. So here Hegel is much dependent on the notion of dialectic, and this dialectic is very clear that he was influenced by Plato and Aristotle. So Plato first used that kind of dialogue, that is dialogue. Dialectic means that kind of contradiction. So dialectic comes from the dialogue, is actually comes from the word dialectic. Dialectic means the contradiction of two opponent things. That was, one is prevailing, that is the thesis, another was newer is coming, that is the antithesis, and then after the contradiction a better one is evolving, that is the synthesis. Means thesis, synthesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. So thesis was prevailing, antithesis is coming, and finally another thing is evolving, that is the synthesis and the newer form, and that newer form is the is composed of all the goods of earlier and the newer one. So to Hegel, it is the belief or human mind who actually wants to develop, and human mind develop out of this thing. So one preconception was there in the mind, and some other preconception is coming through the empirical ways. Means if I am seeing something, so then the reflection is coming to that my mind, and my mind is reacting on that two issues, that is thesis and antithesis is actually antagonizing, means that dialectic is going on inside the mind, and finally mind evolves into something newer one, that is not a very common thing. So see, say for example, I have the notion for leaf. Say for example, গাছের পাতা আমার মনের মধ্যে আছে. So now I am seeing something new. So that impression coming through my eyes, and it enters into the heart, and the heart is now within the heart it started, that dialectic starts, and then heart reaches to a particular kind of notion that leaves may be different type. So I had the preconception of say for example red type of leaf, and I saw a green leaf. Now both ideas are not matching. Now thesis antithesis is contradicting to each other, and then finally my mind reaches to the conclusion that all the way leaf may not be the red one or the green one. It may be red, it may be green, it may be yellow, it may be any other kind if nature produces So, but the leafness is there. Something is that is called the eternity, that is the leafness. Patatto, that is there. So that concept is very much belongs to that eternal world that can be perceived whenever a person is perceiving or analyzing the knowledge which he gathered through various various sense, maybe eyes, maybe through skin, maybe through any other, means if it is the sixth sense, that is the reason. So if a person is perceiving the world in that way, and the knowledge is coming through the various kind of organ of a human body, and then mind is actually started creating the newer form, that is the development. So this is the main source of development, and to him it is the human heart or the mind actually behind all kind of development. So that is why Hegel is understood, or Hegel is regarded as the ideological thinker. That is the thing is that the material world is there. It is not that ki material world nahi. So the material world is there, but material world is developing because of the development of the human heart or the human mind. If mind is not working, so you cannot develop. So mind is prior to Hegel, but it is not that he is not empirical. He always says that if heart is evolving because of the conception, that reflection, impression the heart was having, and the newer impression coming through that eyes or some other kind of sensation. So by this way, two-way is the culmination of knowledge is actually happening. So knowledge is not purely empirical, can't be so, because it is perishable world, and reason is also not the sole one. So he is very much logical, not that he only believer of mind and all, but to him mind is the most prior thing, and here starts all the developmental processes. This is the Hegel's dialectic, and the development only thing is that the thesis, antithesis and synthesis. This way it continues. And regarding family, civil society and state, it is the same. Means family first created, so mind wanted some people to have together, and then men created that family. After some time, human heart, it is the human heart of the mind, told that it is not a complete one. That interest is not being fulfilled. So then the men came out from that family institution and created a newer one, that is a civil society. So this is, then family was thesis, demand from the demand for a more kind of satisfaction of human mind, created civil society. So family first created out of the interest of the people, then a desire for more and more fulfillment of that means satisfaction, or desire for the satisfaction of human mind. Because of that, they came out from family and created another group of segment, that is called civil society, or the business group, or the peer group, or any kind of grouping. But then also he was not satisfied. So that time family then entered some impression, and finally synthesis, that is the civil society. Now civil society, where people are in the civil society, but civil society it is not complete one. Then mind is starting again saying that human being is not at all happy with that civil society, because civil society needs some kind of regulating authority who can regulate every human. So human মানুষকে নিয়ন্ত্রণ করার দরকার. So they are not very much happy with that civil society, because there is no kind of authority that can be in a very good form to control the people. So now there is a requirement of state. So again thesis, antithesis and state is created as synthesis. And as men created the state out of the impression of God, out of the will of the God, out of the because mind is evolving, that is also because of that eternal world, because mind is always evolving, mind is always moving. Nothing is stagnant. To Hegel, that is, the society is not stagnant, state is not stagnant, then human mind is not stagnant. So everything is movable. Everything is movable means all the way moving, not at all in one position. Every moment it is changing. So the changes, if it is changing, so where from the impulsion of the change is coming from? So the answer is that impulsion is coming from the eternal world, because people wants to get satisfied. So main মানুষ শান্তি পেতে চায়, স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন পেতে চায়। তো the impulsion is coming, and who is the creator of the impulsion? That is the someone else who is creating that impulsion in the mind. So now he culminated the issue of God. So eternal world to God, and a very logical way he entered into the entity of God. So God is not God is someone who is more powerful than us, and God is actually behind us, and anything we are doing, anything we are wanting, anything the evolution of mind, that is because of that impulsion coming through that impression of someone's, that is the will of the God. So to him, state is the will of God. State is the march of God on earth. So this is a very popular sentence in our political science, that state is the march of God on earth, by stated by Hegel. So this is up to in this video. In next video I will be talking on Hegel's theory of state. Okay, thank you for watching.